तो Wazirx हैक जो था वो ऑलमोस्ट 2 महीने उसको यहाँ पर हो चुके हैं, लेकिन जब ये हैक हुआ था तो एक फर्म थी Cyvers जिसने सबसे पहले ये डिटेक्ट किया था कि Wazirx का हैक यहाँ पर हुआ है। अब मैं टोकन 2049 में हूँ एंड कोइंसिडेंटली यहाँ पर मैं Cyvers की टीम जो है उनसे यहाँ पर मिला हूँ, तो उनसे यहाँ पर समझेंगे हम कि ये जो पूरा हैक है ये किस तरह से यहाँ पर हुआ, क्या इसको अवॉइड कर सकते थे, क्या पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है, तो we'll be talking about.
Sure. So my name is Michael Pearl. I'm the VP go-to-market of Cyvers. Cyvers, in a nutshell, is a Web3 cybersecurity company. We do real-time monitoring, meaning that after you launch your system already, we monitor your addresses, whether it's wallets or smart contracts, and we're safeguarding them, making sure that nobody hacks into them. So we are the leaders in the space of real-time monitoring and protection. We protect wallets, exchanges, entire blockchains, institutional players, basically making sure that they're not hacked, that their clients are not scammed, and protecting them from any type of malicious activity in real time.
So let's talk about Wazirx. Like awesome work with Wazirx, and recently with the Indodex hack, you were the first ones to report that as well, and the Wazirx hack, you were the first one to report it. Initially when I saw your tweet, like you guys mentioned, Wazirx, your wallet's being drained or it has been hacked, and we have been trying to reach you for last 30 minutes and you can contact us. So can you give me an idea, like when did this hack start and how did you detect it and what happened during that time?
So in the morning of the hack, basically, I think it was like 10 a.m. our time. So we have a security operations center, and the head of the security operations center all of a sudden says, "Listen, I see a huge hack. I know that it's Wazirx wallets, and the numbers keep going up, right? So eventually it was $235 million, but back then it was a few tens of millions of dollars, right? And you have to understand that for us, we have huge responsibility because we see that it's the real deal. We see that indeed it's a hack, that the wallets of the exchange were hacked. We know that we can label this as a Wazirx wallet. And then, we have to decide what to do with it, right? Because it's a huge responsibility to make this call, or even worse, to make it public. But at the end of the day, we also have responsibility for the traders and for the users as well. What we usually do is we try to reach out to the company. They were not our clients, but nevertheless, we wanted to give them the courtesy of reaching out to them before we actually publish this. So I actually had a friend that connected me to Nishal, to the founder. I made the call.
Did you call him on the phone or was it like by Twitter or Telegram?
It was a WhatsApp, and then we moved to Telegram. I don't remember the exact technicalities, but at the end of the day, you make the call and you go on a call with another individual, and you have to tell the founder that he's being hacked for a huge sum of money. We didn't know that it's 235 million, but it was growing as we were speaking. And at first he wanted some proof, which is totally understandable, because somebody calls you whom you don't know. You want to have some proof. So we sent him the screenshot from the system and the hash and the links to Etherscan and so on. And eventually that he saw that it's the real deal, and he opened his own war room, and we deployed our security operations center. We tried to help them. But to be perfectly honest, after you get hacked, there is not that much that you can do. All the necessary steps that you can do should be done beforehand and not afterwards. Then you can only just assess the magnitude of the damage and see what you can do about it.
Yes, you talked about the wallets that were being drained. So do you monitor like wallets of all the exchanges, and how do you identify, like if you see a wallet, this is like the wallet for Wazirx, or the exchanges they share it with you? Like how do you identify? How were you able to identify this is a wallet that belongs to Wazirx?
So I cannot really tell you. That's the
secret.
Yeah, okay. That's the secret sauce. Yeah. But we can tell if a wallet is a Wazirx wallet or a Binance wallet and so on. Obviously, you cannot be 100% sure, but we have some signals that show that it's indeed a wallet that belongs to Wazirx. That's why we usually reach out and we want to make sure, because we don't want to make mistakes, right? We appreciate, it's a business, and there are many users that are using it. We don't want to trigger any false alarms. But let's say until today, we were always correct on identifying the identity of the wallets.
So it's like you keep on tracking all the wallets, and in the end, when you see a hack like this, you have like somehow you are able to identify like it belongs to an exchange, but it is not 100% sure. So you have to take a call on that. Is that right?
So in some cases we're 100% sure. In other cases, maybe we still want to verify because we want to be responsible. But again, most cases we already know the answer, right? We just want to reach out to give them the courtesy of a plausible denial.
But isn't it better like if all the exchanges they share their wallets with the security teams? That way, it's like easier to have a detection rather than them trying to find it out.
I think it would be better if all exchanges would deploy real-time monitoring services. So I think there's a huge discrepancy between the threats that we see, and we see that basically attacks against centralized entities and especially centralized exchanges have grown 900% quarter to quarter. And between the awareness of the owners and the founders and the managers of the exchanges. So exchanges are the most targeted entities in crypto, centralized exchanges. And nevertheless, most of them do not deploy any, security measures. So they trust their own security, CSOs and their security operation centers and so on. But at the end of the day, they need the real-time monitoring to actually let them know when they're being hacked in real time, and oftentimes even beforehand. They do not have the proper tools for that. Just like they outsource, many different things, that is definitely something that they should outsource and take seriously. And again, it's really unfortunate that we have to make these calls. We would very much prefer calling, these founders and telling them, listen, somebody tried to hack you, but they didn't succeed. And actually, in the case of Wazirx, for sure, if they would have worked with us in the first place, we could have warned them, we could have prevented it. Because I don't want to go too deep into the technical parts, but they were attacked by a malicious smart contract, which is essentially a smart contract that is being deployed, and it is up to no good, right? It's a ticking bomb that you have no reason to interact with. So if we were tracking their wallets, we could have added this to a blacklist, and they could have prevented it. There are many different ways to go about it, but if they would have worked with us in the first place, we could definitely intervene and help them to mitigate this and to prevent it.
So you're saying in a way like if the exchange was using services like yours, there would have been a possibility where you would have been able to detect the malicious smart contract upgrade that was happening on the wallet, and you could have notified them, right? And this would have helped in a way, right? But let's talk about the day of the hack. So like, can you give me an idea like how were they able to upgrade the wallet? Like how were they able to upgrade the wallet? Because one question that we have is normally we talk about, okay, how was this hack possible? So from what we know, the statements that have been issued that somehow the smart contract wallet was upgraded, and it can only be done if because it is a multi-sig wallet, you have different people signing it. So you need minimum like I think 3 or 4 people, 3 from Wazirx, 1 from Nimnal. So 3 of them signed and the 4th one signed. So how was it possible? Like how did it work?
So there's a misconception that says, a custodian is foolproof, or if you have a multi-sig wallet, it's foolproof. Nothing is foolproof, right? There are ways to circumvent any type of structure that is being built, right? So I cannot really tell you what went wrong in that case. I know that it is disputed right now between the exchange and the custodian. And I think that nobody knows for sure. And I want to be honest here, and I don't want to take sides here. But I think it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you have to understand that the way hackers are thinking, it's just like a startup, okay? It's all a matter of an ROI. So if you know that there is a bag full of $230 million or more, $1 billion, right? That's what they managed to steal. But you have a bag full of, goodies.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there is a certain threshold of funds that you can invest in, some resources that will make it worthwhile for you to hack, right? So you have to deploy several engineers to do that. Maybe you have to do some research, but at the end of the day, you will succeed. That's the point. The point is that we always talk about the hacks that happened. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's why you need to deploy systems that can predict that, or in the worst case, to prevent it in real time, right? Oftentimes you can predict it, just like in the Wazirx case. Other times you can at least know in real time that you're being hacked, and then you can mitigate this, perhaps move some funds from one wallet to another. That's clearly something that you have to prepare for, right? You cannot leave it to just coincidence. But we're doing this on a daily basis. We're working with companies, with wallets, with exchanges, with custodians on how to prepare for that day, because unfortunately this day will come, for most centralized entities and for DeFi entities as well.
So after this hack happened, so has any Indian exchange, have they approached you regarding this service?
You wouldn't believe it. It took a day or two, but the amount of first of all, I know that India is a very vibrant market, right? But I had no idea that there's so many Indian exchanges, right? So we started getting messages on LinkedIn, Telegram, through some friends. We have a lot of Indian connections, and we got approached by quite a few Indian exchanges, some Indian, everything to do with the ecosystem of the exchange, payment providers, because all of a sudden this case has risen the awareness of the Indian crypto community, of the companies, of the corporations, of the regulators as well. I know that the regulators is involved in a very, very intense way. So I'm really hopeful that this unfortunate case, and I know that a lot of traders in India were hurt by it. I'm really hopeful that this will raise the awareness for other exchanges to implement measures that will prevent the next hack, because otherwise the next hack will happen. It's just the way it is.
So I think this was like a wake-up call for all the Indian exchanges. And I wanted to ask this because I wanted to understand, I wanted to know if whether now other exchanges, they are more serious about security or not, right? Because Wazirx, they used to say they have the best security, but now we realize there are a lot of things that you need to take care of. So my next question is regarding the funds. So from what I know, I think you can explain better. What I've been seeing, I've been doing my own security research, and my research basically says is they have transferred all the crypto. I think almost 4-5 million is still in the same crypto, and other they have converted to ETH. But now they are using Tornado Cash to convert it. Is that right? Is that where they are trying to move it, to Tornado Cash?
Yeah, so you have to understand that the fact that people are stealing $230 million in crypto, whether it's Ethereum or even more some, if it's in some small tokens, some altcoins, it doesn't mean that they have 230 million in their pocket, right? So they have to launder the money. They have to off-ramp, basically, to find a way to convert it to fiat, because they want to stay off-chain, right? Because they don't want to be tracked. We, for instance, can track them, a very long way. If they go, cross-chain, if they swap, if they move it to a different exchange, we can still track them, and we are doing that in real time.
And what about Tornado Cash? Recently, they've been moving so many Ethereum to Tornado Cash, hundreds and hundreds of Ethereum. So can you still track them after that?
So Tornado Cash, obviously, Tornado Cash and other mixers, that's what they do. They mix the money, and then presumably you cannot know where the money came from. But I think the biggest problem, again, it's not a problem for the decent people, right? But for the hackers, the biggest problem is the fact that you have withdrawn money from Tornado Cash means that this money is dirty already. So it doesn't really solve the problem for them. But nevertheless, they're trying to, get rid of the money. They're trying to find different ways, and it will take them some time, I believe, because we see that, they sit on the money, they wait with it. They're not really, uptight about the money. At the end of the day, a significant sum will probably be funneled to their pockets this way or another.
So how do they cash it out? Because in the end, they have to cash it out somewhere, right? Sell somewhere, get fiat. So how they do it? How they go for the OTC market, black market, or they use exchanges?
A little bit of all, but so let's say obviously they will do something to conceal the source of the money, right? They will go to mixers, or they will just do the long way of, let's say, going through a bridge and swap it to a different token, and maybe adding liquidity somewhere, extracting liquidity.
Oh,
They
yeah.
will try to distort the path of the money, but eventually some of the money will land at some crypto exchange that doesn't really have KYC, or has, let's say, KYC quote unquote, right? And at the end of the day, they will manage to withdraw some of the money. Some of the money will maybe be used in crypto to pay for some services. uh, you have to remember that at the end of the day, hacking is just like starting a startup, right? So you have to pay developers, you have to pay, they have a whole team. It's just
Yeah.
like a startup. It's a malicious startup, but they need operational money. So they're probably using crypto for that as well, for equipment and so on. But again, there are always ways to funnel money. We are constantly tracking these exchanges, the mixers. We're warning our clients against it, and we have plenty of solutions and products that are aimed to block funds coming from these entities. But there are still ways. When there's a will, there's a way.
Right. So you talked about like these hackers when they have to cash the fund out. But the other thing you talked about, they also use exchanges. And I was reading some reports, and I read like they also use P2P markets a lot, right? So so these big exchanges like you have Binance and other exchanges, they normally have KYC, wherein they are very strict with hacked funds. But also in this market, you have so many other exchanges, maybe shady exchanges, who are comfortable. They just want they want the volume. They don't do the proper KYC or something, and maybe even you inform them that these funds are from the hack. Maybe they will not freeze them. So are there like exchanges, shady exchanges like this, where hackers are able to find the liquidity and cash it out and still not get caught?
Unfortunately, first of all, the answer is yes. But
Okay.
unfortunately, even the prominent exchanges, even the top five, some of the names you've mentioned, I'm not going to mention names, but they are receiving money that basically was sourced by hacks and scams and so on. That's all because the systems that they're using right now, and I'm not going to mention names, they are doing the bare minimum for clearing and doing a proper screening on the funds. So we are seeing this on a daily basis, that a wallet that was involved in a hack, we submitted to one of the incumbent blockchain intelligence systems, and it's being cleared as if this wallet was crystal clear, right? As if it was not involved in anything at all.
So even after you flag it, yeah.
So that's the point, that we are flagging it on chain in real time.
Okay.
So if you run this wallet through our system, we will tell you, hey, this wallet was involved in a hack. Then it tried to funnel money through Tornado Cash. And I don't know, maybe it was involved in some scam like 2 years ago as well, because we keep track of everything. But unfortunately, most of the systems that are being used right now, they are quite obsolete. Most of them do not really collect data on chain, because we do all our collection on chain. We don't care what the enforcement agencies tell us. We collect it on chain, and we know that this address was involved in a hack, and then we flag it as such, and we remember that, and we it gets piled up, because these addresses, they usually come back to the crime scene. I'll tell you more than that. In theory, you can open a new wallet, and then it will have no history at all, right? But we can actually tell, even with new wallets, we can cluster them and see if they are affiliated with malicious wallets. So we can tell that even this wallet that is brand new, the funds that it received, they originated from a malicious wallet.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not black and white. So you have levels of severity, you have percentages of being convinced that this is indeed the case. But I think that the entire approach to KYC, to compliance, and to funds that originated from a hack needs to change, and the exchanges have plenty of work to do before they reach a level that they can say we did everything we can not to receive this dirty money.
So my last question. The main concern is the hacked funds, the funds that have been lost. Is there any possibility of recovering these funds? Because now hackers are using Tornado Cash, maybe they use other method, but still, even after using Tornado Cash, is there a possibility of recovering maybe a small percentage of these funds?
According to what we see in our figures, and again, we are scanning 10 different blockchains, 24/7, and we have quite a big database that we can actually, see the numbers and see the odds of actually recovering the money. So first of all, most don't even try, but those who try, they succeed in 25% of the cases, and even then, they don't recover the whole thing. Very simply put, after you get hacked, there is close to zero chance of recovering the money. It does happen sometimes when the hacker itself approaches the victim and suggests him to buy the money back. Because again, as we just mentioned, it's really hard to launder that money, and it's not like they really have those $230 million. So in theory, they can approach an exchange or another victim and tell them, listen, pay me like 30%, and I'm gonna return the money to you, and that's it. You're never gonna see me again. And some of them indeed do that. There are a lot of bug bounty programs that are in fact just a way of returning the money from the hacker to the victim. It's better not to get hacked.
Who do you think is behind the hack? What do you think?
I honestly don't know. I cannot really tell. I'm aware of the chatter that is going on, and there are many theories. Some of them make sense.
Do you believe them, the chatter that's going on?
Yeah, listen, it's natural that when you have a multi-sig wallet and there's a few signatories, then you can blame either part. But first of all, I really don't know. I know that this is under investigation right now, but there are several theories. I know that it's also being investigated by the Indian police and by the regulator. I'm not the person to tell. I'm just revealing the hack and how it happened.
Thank you so much for taking our time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope this is a wake-up call for the exchanges and anybody like Indian Exchange. If you want to reach out to him, please, you can always drop me a message. I'll connect you.